Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to evening devotion. So, a quick update on my mother-in-law. They got her in a room. They're keeping her over the weekend for observation. She's doing a little better, but there's still some issues. So they're looking into what else is going on, or possibly could be going on, or how better to stabilize her. They're trying to get her to quit smoking. She's not going to be able to have access to cigarettes. Hopefully, this will be enough to get her to quit and at least have some quality of life left. But we're not holding out a lot of hope. But we'll find out something after the weekend, and I'll keep you guys updated on where she is headed and where this goes from here. So tonight we're going to be reading out of Revelation 16:15. Blessed is he that watcheth. The whole verse says, "Behold, I am coming as a thief." He's going to sneak in. That's what thieves do. They sneak in. He's going to sneak in. Blessed is he who watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Jesus is going to sneak in, which means what he's telling us is, I'm going to creep in. I'm going to sneak in on y'all. It'd be better if you watched. I want you always prepared, always ready. You know what that means? Live a life that glorifies the Lord in everything that you do possible. Then we're always ready. We're always watching. We're always looking. Always with that expectation and eagerly expecting the Lord to appear. So let's go up a few here. Let's see. Okay, so this is getting into prophecies there. So this verse kind of stands out from what it's talking about here. So let's go up here. We're going to go ahead and read context on this because there really is no context for this except for what this is talking about. And this is saying some things that are going to happen. Starting in verse 10, then the fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom became full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues because of the pain. They were in such pain, they were chewing on their own tongues. They blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and did not repent of their deeds. These people are lost. There's nothing that can be done for them. Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way of the kings from the east might be prepared. People keep saying it's not China. Well, China right now has a 2 million man army, and they're east of Israel. So I don't know. Just putting the pieces together. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs. This is interesting what he's saying here. Unclean spirits like frogs. So maybe in the future I'll do a deeper study here. We can look at the original language and see what that word for frogs is in the Greek. Coming out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of demons, performing signs, which go out to the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. Behold, I am coming as a thief. So this verse doesn't seem like it fits here. Behold, I'm coming as a thief. Blessed is he who watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And they gather them together in a place called, in Hebrew, Armageddon. And we know where that valley is. And they've done some calculations, and they said literally all the armies of the world could fit in that valley. It's a big valley. If you ever watch or follow Amir Sarfati, he has a house right up there on the top peak of that valley. You can look right down into it. The seventh bowl, verse 17. Then the seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." And there were noises and thunderings and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such a mighty and great earthquake as had not occurred since men were on the earth. So the earthquake that's going to happen in the seals, this is worse. This is worse. Now the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon was remembered before God, to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Then every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And great hail from heaven fell upon men, each hailstone about the weight of a talent, about 100 pounds. Men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, since the plague was exceedingly great. Now, there have been people over the years that have said that's impossible for a hailstone to get that big. How does it stay up in the sky? The current world record for the biggest hailstone ever found falling from the sky, 88 pounds. If they can get that big, they can certainly get to be 100 pounds. And if you ask a meteorologist or anybody who studies that, they'll tell you, oh yeah, easily. Easily. They said the 88 pounder and the other ones that were almost that size that fell with that one, and there was quite a few of them, destroyed whole houses. They said they were bigger than that in the sky. And as they fell, they lost some of their mass. Amazing. So yeah, absolutely it can do that. So people talk about this stuff in the book of Revelation like, no, none of that can happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. You will not escape it. It's going to happen. We die daily, said the apostle. This was the life of the early Christians. They went everywhere with their lives in their hands. We are not in this day called to pass through the same fearful persecutions, and that's true. What happened back then is different now. But this persecution nonetheless. If we were, the Lord would give us grace to bear the test. But the tests of Christian life at the present moment, though outwardly not so terrible, are yet more likely to overcome us than even those of the fiery age. How interesting he says that. So I want you to contemplate something here. So you have a group of Christians in one country, and they are being physically persecuted. Every time they gather, if they're caught, they're beaten. After a few years, some of them die. After a few years, the leadership in that country gets overthrown and a new leadership goes in and it stops. So they dealt with a few years of on and off persecution, physical persecution. You have another country with a group of people and they're allowed to worship, but they're heavily guilted for doing so. And they're browbeat and they're attacked verbally and they're attacked emotionally and they're attacked spiritually by the demons, so that they love the Lord, but they are made to feel horrible emotions concerning their faith. And it never quits. It only gets worse as time goes on. Who do you think's suffering more? Wounds heal. Broken spirits, only God can heal that. Couple of years of on and off physical persecution is nothing compared to an entire lifetime, or even in this case multiple lifetimes of emotional, spiritual, and even religious, because the pain that hurts the most are the wounds you get from your brothers and sisters. Not the wounds that heal you because they love you, but the wounds that are meant to hurt you because they're really not your brothers and sisters. They're false professors. So you take any country in the world that has Christians, that's third world, and put it in the first position. Take America and put it in the next position, and you've got literally what's happening today. People say, "Oh, you Christians in America, you guys don't have nothing to deal with, really." Glenn Beck has a organization, Mercury One, and they go and they save people, Christians in other countries, from persecution and bring them to safe places. And they had gotten a group of them. This was years ago. They got a group of them. I forget where they got them from. Pretty big group. And they had other countries set up, but everything was full. So like, well, we'll just take you to America, and we'll help you guys out until we can get you, back somewhere safe. And so they took them all. I flew them all to America. They just got off the plane and was just walking around looking. Matter of fact, all those people actually got deported. They were forced to be, our government deported them back to that same country. I think most of them are dead. There's men, women, and children. This was many years ago. They actually had a church all to themselves here in America, and they were forced to go back. But when one of the administrators asked them, so what do you think about America so far? They're like, how do you guys do it? They said, in our country, we dealt with physical persecution. Our wounds healed. And it wasn't all the time. You guys are surrounded by demons. We see them. Your cell phones, your social media, all the advertisement. You guys are being bombarded with it. How do you do it? I couldn't, the guy would I couldn't do this. How do you do it? You all are surrounded by demons. So who do you think's got the worst persecution? It may look like we don't, but in reality we do. Because every day, every one of us has to fight for faith. It may not be a physical fight, but sometimes things that are more painful aren't physical. Just throwing that out there. I think that's what he's getting at here too, in a certain way. We have to bear the sneer of the world that is little. Its blandishments, its soft words, its oily speeches, its fawning, its hypocrisy are far worse. You think a torture like what, was it Irenaeus, I think, got cut in half with a saw. Cut him in half, stem to stern. You think that's worse? Because it was only a short period of time, and then it was over. He went on to be with the Lord. It was terrible, and it was be very painful, but that pain stops. What about here? Does this pain ever stop for us? Nope. Not till the Lord comes and gets us, or until we meet our appointed day to die. It's rough, because you're bombarded and surrounded by it every day. And here's the thing, and I speak from a very personal standpoint here, you never know who you can trust. See, in those other countries, a Christian is a Christian. And you know a Christian when you meet one. And they're a very close-knit group in any of those countries. Over here, who's a Christian? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell who's who. Because everybody looks the same and acts the same. It's hard to tell a real Christian from anyone else. Now, I say that, but the very small, minority of us, the what is it, the remnant, we stand out, but nobody ever sees us because the rest of the world overshadows it. You don't know who you can trust. You don't know who's going to say, God bless you, and then stab you in the back as soon as you turn around. And so you walk every single day not knowing if you can trust even sometimes people in your own household. What a terrible way to have to live. That's a really weird way to be persecuted, yet we endure it every single day and have all our lives. Our danger is lest we grow rich and become proud, lest we give ourselves up to the fashions of this present evil world and lose our faith. And that's what people are trying to get us to do. He's literally talking about, sounds like he's talking about America, because that's how it is in America right now. Our danger is lest we grow rich and become proud, lest we give ourselves up to the fashions of this present evil world and lose our faith. Or if wealth be not the trial, worldly care is quite as mischievous. I agree. Caring for the things of this world. If we cannot be torn in pieces by the roaring lion, if we may be hugged to death by the bear, the devil little cares which it is, so long as he destroys our love to Christ and our confidence in him. What I tell you guys, what's the devil's number one goal? To keep us from worshiping the Lord. To distract us so much that we don't worship the Lord. You ever hear that speech from Paul Harvey of How We're the Devil? 100% accurate, and that's exactly what the devil's doing. And he ended that speech with that very phrase. If I were the devil, I would do exactly what I'm doing right now. He doesn't want us to worship the Lord. That's why he has so many of these charismatic teachers and these other false teachers out there leading people to worship themselves. Joel Osteen's whole shtick is your best life now. Believe in yourself. All this believing, worshiping yourself. They're making us turn ourselves into idols. What does the Lord say about that? Their God is their God is their belly. They worship themselves. I mean, you can make the direct connection here. Direct connection. He destroys our confidence. He wants us to fear. Jesus said, don't fear. He wants us to not be watching. Jesus said, watch. We just read it. So literally what we see happening is exactly what Satan's trying to do. And those people out there that are doing those things, including the people calling themselves Christians, that are doing those very things against other Christians, are serving their father, the devil. Now tell me I'm hateful and unloving when I say somebody's serving God, serving the devil when they're doing the devil's will. Yet they claim to be a Christian. Because that's exactly what they're doing. I fear me that the Christian church is far more likely to lose her integrity in these soft and silken days than in those rougher times. You know what makes a church stronger? Persecution, physical persecution. Because that drives people to the Lord. This soft persecution we have, this sullen persecution, this what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Passive. It's passive persecution. This passive persecution just woos us right along until guys, the devil is a great looking guy with nice hair in a nice suit with a real bright smile. And he tells you everything you want to hear and puts his arm around your shoulder and tells you you're the greatest thing since sliced bread while he escorts you right through the gates of hell. That's his whole thing. That's what he's doing. This whole life we have here is designed for that very purpose. See, Satan knew that America was going to get strong. What did he do? He headed off at the past. He got a hold of Constantine. Constantine said, I'm killing Christians. I'm just making more Christians. I know what to do. I'm going to put them under state control. Hey guys, you're under state protection now. You worship how you want. Boom, Catholic Church is born. And look how far down the hole that's gone. The first 501c3 was under Constantine. And they're still doing it. 501c3 is a tax shelter. The devil's hard at work. He's good at what he does. It's only whenever we start to recognize it that the direct persecutions come. And I guarantee you there will be at least one person who's going to comment on this video after hearing it with hate. I know it's going to happen. We must be awake now, for we traverse the enchanted ground and are most likely to fall asleep to our own undoing, unless our faith in Jesus be a reality. Examine yourself. And our love to Jesus a vehement flame. Many in these days of easy profession are likely to prove tares and not wheat. Hypocrites with fair masks on their faces. How interesting he mentions masks. But not the true born Christian of the living God. Christian, do not think that these are times in which you can dispense with watchfulness or with holy ardor. You need these things more than ever, and may God the eternal Spirit display his omnipotence in you, that you may be able to say in all these softer things, as well as in the rougher, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. You don't think I know what I'm talking about, because I've lived it. I've seen it firsthand in the church. Walk into any church anywhere and walk up and say, hey, can I get a show of hands real quick? Who actually believes that Jesus died on the cross? Just randomly. Don't announce you're going to do it. Just do it. Watch what happens. I would venture a guess you would see 3 or 4 hands come up, but the ushers would immediately chase you out of the church and tell you you can't come here anymore. How dare you question people's salvation by asking them if they believe in Jesus? If you want a challenge, go try it. See what happens. See how many churches answer with a correct response. We all do. Every hand should go up. See, I'm one of those weird people. I would put my hand up if somebody asked that question. Yes, I believe. And then the ushers would escort him out of the church. What are you doing here? Yeah. There are men who have put videos on YouTube that have walked into churches singing a hymn and didn't even get a chance to sit down and were immediately escorted out. Hymns about salvation, hymns about the gospel, and were immediately escorted out. Why? That's a Christian church. They should have kicked everybody off like that. Guys, I hear what he's singing. We're all singing it. Let's glorify the Lord together. Good on you, brother. Have a seat right here in the front. Nope, they'll chase them out. They will run them out on a rail. And that happens. Or if you're having a conversation and somebody talks about something that God condemns in the Bible and you say, doesn't the Lord condemn that in the Bible? Immediately, instant flash anger, and they attack you. In the church. Persecution is around every corner, including the house of worship. Persecution is everywhere we go every day. Say the wrong thing, wear the wrong t-shirt in a grocery store, at a shopping mall, in public, at a gas station. You invite attack, and it happens, sometimes very violently. If you can prove me wrong, by all means. It's easy. Just go out and look for yourself. You'll see. Carry a sign that says Jesus is Lord. See how many people stop their car in traffic, get out, and start getting in your face. Yeah. I held up an American flag years ago and got yelled at a bunch of times. I got some salutes from some guys who were ex-military, but I got yelled at for holding up an American flag. You hold up a Christian flag with that big blue cross on it and that white field. It all goes downhill very quickly. By all means, now that things are so easy and comfortable and quiet, and I tell you this as a stark warning to everybody that hears this, and you can share this everywhere and timestamp this spot in the video. Most likely, Trump is going to get reelected. Things are going to get very good and very easy. Do not stop watching. Do not get comfortable. Do not get complacent, because that is when you need to watch more closely. Nothing against Trump. Nothing against things doing good. I would love for gas to go down, because I'm struggling right now to pay for gas with all the appointments we got to go to. I mean, we just literally made 3 trips to San Antonio today. I did one, and my wife did one, and then I went in with her for the second one. But when things get really quiet and peaceful and everybody's happy and everything's doing good, watch how many people just stop. We're the ones that have to keep telling them, guys, don't get comfortable. Oh, everything's good now. Look, we got Trump in. Guys, don't stop watching, because this is only for a short time, and it's all going to come back 3 times as worse. Because if he does get elected, you better believe they're going to be getting everything set up and ready. And I firmly believe he's going to be the last president. They're already talking about it. So even though people around the world see our persecution here and go, oh, you guys got it good. No, not really. It's one thing to get first physical persecution every now and then. It's a whole other thing to have 24/7 persecution on your soul, on your spirit, on your emotions, on your mind. That every unguarded moment is a risk of getting caught unawares, because they are at us all the time. We're the weakest link. Other countries, they just make their Christians stronger. Here, no. It's too easy. So we have to be diligent, examine ourselves. That's what this whole channel has been about getting everybody ready, about telling everybody, guys, look at what the Bible says. This is what we should be doing, and to be ready. And so individually, we all must do that. Even me. We all must examine ourselves and see where we stand and make sure we're standing where we should. Don't stand on the plastic lining on the floor. If y'all remember that movie. The guy walked in, why is there plastic everywhere? And he got shot, just to keep from making a mess on the floor. And the other guy walks in and stands on the side of the room. Why don't you come closer to my desk? I don't want to stand on the plastic. That's what he told him. Don't stand on the plastic. Always be ready. Always be watching. Always be diligent. Because if you're always paying attention, he can't get one over on you. He with a lowercase h can't get one over on you. Because he's always trying. And his favorite tool is to get somebody in your home to start working stuff wrong in your life. Trying to tear your home down. That's been one of his biggest attacks here the last some odd years, is the home. Should be no mystery to us. The Bible warned us about all these things. Here they are. So let's always be watching. Let's be found watching when he comes. Let's be found doing what he has given us to do. He's coming like a thief. We're not going to know when he's going to arrive. Nobody is. They're going to keep calling out dates. Watch for, there's going to be a date in May already coming up. There's one here for April. I think that's past or about to go. There's going to be another one after that. What is it, May 14th? So they're all going to be calling these dates out. It's never going to happen on those days. Because he says, I'm coming on an hour you do not expect. Be ye ready. And so we need to be ready. And that's what I'm trying to help everybody with. Consider this, look at this, read this, pay attention to this. Because if we do those things, we're all ready. If we obey his word, we're always ready. Always. We have nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. Because when everything gets good and everybody relaxes and lets their guard down, that's when everything's going to change. And those that are ready will be ready. May we always be eagerly expecting him, like it says in Hebrews 9:28. Always eagerly expecting the Lord. Because that verse says he's coming for us. So let's always be watching. Always be watching. No matter what's happening. Things may get busy. You would not believe the amount of appointments, not for me, but for other people, I have in my calendar where I'm going to have to escort them there. And that's not the half of it, because my mother-in-law, when she gets out, is probably going to have another slew of appointments all the way out to January of next year. And I know what this is. And I'm paying attention. And I'm going to watch. Because I know what he's trying to do, and I'm not going to let him do it. I'm going to keep watching. I'm not going to let anything get in my way. There may be days I film late. There may be days that something goes wrong and I have to film a low quality video. There may be days I stumble over my words or do them super short or don't pray. But I will always be watching. Because I know that's exactly what he doesn't want me to do. And I will always be worshiping because that's what he doesn't want me to do. I will always be praising the Lord and giving thanks to him because that is exactly what he doesn't want me to do. And more importantly, our Lord is worthy of our gratitude and our prayers and our thanksgivings and our praise and our worship, our attention, our love. And if we give it all to him, there's nothing left for the other guy. I love you all very much. I bless you all in Jesus' name. Rough times, y'all. But now's when we need to stay on our toes. They always say that when a storm is going and bad weather's passing through, if it suddenly gets dead quiet, that's when you need to worry. When the storm is making noise, you're probably going to be okay. It's just the storm. But when it goes dead quiet, that's when you need to worry. Or even worse, and this happened to me once. And it was horrifying. Standing outside, clouds black, trying to get to the car. You could still hear the rain. You could still hear the wind. But it wasn't touching the ground and the trees weren't moving. Every now and then when a tornado tries to come down, it'll make a big circle and it'll push the wind out and it'll make underneath it dead quiet. You can hear the rain falling, no rain is falling. You can see the rain falling, no rain is falling. You can hear the wind, but nothing's moving. You better believe we got out in that car and got out of there quick. And they had a touchdown later on. When things get quiet is when we need to be very diligent. So let's keep being diligent. And let's do it together so we cross the finish line together. Some of us, we're going to be carrying each other across the finish line, but let's do that if that's what it takes. See you guys in the next video.